How was the drive?
Not too bad. It's
No.
pretty straightforward. All the roads are pretty good.
Yeah.
They're a little tighter. They're not like, perfectly clean up on the edges, but they're good enough.
Yeah, it's been a few days now.
Yeah.
I mean, the day it snowed, it wasn't that bad. It was a mess. Yeah.
Do you have, like, anything I could have to drink? I meant to
Right
grab...
beside you.
Just anything out of these boxes?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yes. Liquid death, water, soda. I need the screen capture. And then I need this for the podcast. And going. I don't know what link this is at. Just bring that down. Well, it's a podcast. It's already going. Everybody is watching. How is everybody doing? This is Praise the Run.
Hey.
I'm Ben from
Hey,
the Mr.
everybody.
Ben Show and Praise the Run.
What's up?
This is Patrick.
I'm Patrick.
I forgot to zoom in the camera.
Oh, no.
I did. It looks good. Looks right.
No, I'm good. I'm going to readjust this chair, though.
Oh yeah, do what you got here.
Princess and the Pea over here. If it ain't straight.
Yeah, it kind of just bunched everything
It really
up and threw
did,
it on
yeah.
there.
Alright, well. Tell me about your day.
My day? My day's been fine. I woke up a couple hours ago. If that is. I guess it's only been an hour. And then after this, I will edit and go get food.
Yeah.
But really, my day hasn't started yet. I haven't done anything.
Speaking of editing, I found a, excuse me, a free thing on my laptop called Clipchamp. I think it's just like part of
Okay.
Google or Microsoft or whatever.
Is it like an AI thing?
It's, no, nothing to do with AI. It just straight up, it's just an editing thing.
No.
But, it's free. I mean, there's like some unfree features. They have a premium package or whatever, but it has a good bit of stuff. It's not as like cool as like you could probably do a lot more with like the TikTok editor.
Yeah.
But I don't have that kind of phone capabilities at the moment, so.
Recording screen. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Gotta get that screen.
Just in case. I'm sure we'll need it eventually.
Yeah, but it's basic, but yeah, I was excited
Nice.
that my laptop had something. It's not I can't do too much. I think I added like a fourth layer, or like maybe 4 or 5 different like layers. But by the time I got to like the fifth one, it was like really struggling to just replay it over and over. I was like, okay, I can't get too crazy. Because that's the fun part about editing for me is like as I'm editing, I come up with ideas.
Right.
Versus like some people like try to plan. I mean, you can kind of plan some things, but it kind of comes to me as I'm doing it. I discover like things as it's going, and I'm like, oh, I could do this instead or whatever.
Yeah.
But as you're doing that, yeah, you're just adding more things, and then yeah.
What? Anything specific you're editing? Just comedy or?
Just my comedy clips. I've been slowly like cutting them up and going back and putting timestamps on everything so I can like know at what like time to jump to for like certain like crowd work stuff, so I can like clip that. And then so now I'm going back and like just trying to make the clips a little more than your average comedy clip. Just add like a slight lead.
Right.
You know, just keep things goofy like I do usually. So.
And when your laptop can't run Premiere, can it?
I doubt it. I feel like Premiere would be too much. I mean, it would probably boot it up and then it'd be like
crash. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think it's minimum 8 gigs of RAM, but that's still pretty low. I think my laptop is 16.
Yeah.
So it's not fast, but it gets the job done.
Yeah, my laptop's not meant for it. My laptop is just a fancy tablet basically, so.
Yeah.
But what this is basic enough that I can just kind of zazz up my clips without, doing too much.
Yeah.
And it still has all the features of like, oh, I can send it right to TikTok or right to YouTube or whatever, which is very helpful. I don't have to like download it and then go to the page and re-upload it and yada yada. And
it kind of reminds me of CapCut. I don't know if CapCut.
It's probably similar.
Yeah, I don't know if it doesn't. CapCut's a mobile thing, so I don't know if there's a non-mobile version. I'd imagine so now. A lot of TikTokers use that specifically.
I mean, this one's called Clipchamp, so I'm sure it's a
CapCut clone.
Yeah.
I'll look into CapCut, and especially because I think if you were going to pay for anyone, that's the one to pay for.
Mm-hmm.
From the reviews that I've had. But
yeah.
I use Premiere for everything, and I have Final Cut. I think that's the Apple version of it too.
Yeah. Once I get better technology, I don't mind paying whatever, but there's no point in it right now because I have nothing capable of running those programs worth paying for. So.
Well, we can split the Adobe subscription, but Adobe's insanely expensive.
Yeah.
I think after tax it's $65 a month.
Right, you'd have to really be you have to put the work in making that worth it. But
so on average, if you do the math, I spend like $7 a video or something like that.
Right. Yeah,
depending on how many videos I got up. I mean, when I was doing daily videos, it was like, oh yeah, it's like $2 a video or whatever. But now I do like 4-hour-long videos.
Right.
But I can't do that every day anymore. But yeah, I mean, did you didn't get any comedy in this weekend because of you're sick, but
what was
anything fun?
What was the weekend? I thought I did.
Well, Sunday was you had that fever.
Oh, it was Friday. I did do something Friday.
Yeah.
Friday I had a show in Boston.
Yeah.
And then right after that is when I got sick. I think it was probably from Boston.
That. Yeah. And Saturday we had the snowstorm.
Just all of Boston. It's so full of germs.
Oh yeah.
No, it's not. I mean, it is, but I'm not.
Any
more or less, it was just like being down in a club, tight spaces.
Yeah.
More likely to, get something. I'm sure other people were sick down there, stuff like that. So that's where I assume I got it from, because that was like the last populated place I was at. But it's nothing crazy. It was just like
a little fever.
It was shitty, and now it's just like nasally stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, you
I had to leave work. Yeah. Yeah, the other day I left work early because I was like, I had like the worst headache. I didn't even feel like standing. But now I'm like, oh, I'm just really stuffy. I've been taking Dayquil, so I'm good now. I'm just gotta blow my nose every once in a while, and
I don't like Dayquil. I like NyQuil. NyQuil is the one that I'd rather wait until I go to bed and drink NyQuil.
Well, I just take the pills. I don't drink any of it.
Oh,
I just do all the pills.
Yeah.
I'm not a medicine drinker unless it's Pepto-Bismol. That one I'll drink the whole bottle. I love Pepto-Bismol, but
I mean,
all the other medicine, gross.
Yeah.
I even got like this like honey stuff. It was like, oh, it's honey, and I was like, oh man, honey's good. I love honey. You know,
Yeah.
no, it's horrible. It's gross.
the only
So,
medicine
pills all the way.
yeah. Yeah, the Dimetap is the one that I have like nostalgia for, like the grape solid
No.
purple.
I do not like grape, cherry, none of it.
It doesn't
Only
taste like grape.
Pepto-Bismol though. I fuck with that hard, dude. I kind of look forward to having a stomach ache sometimes. I'm not gonna
Really?
lie. Yeah, I look forward to it just because I know I'm gonna chase it with some Pepto-Bismol, and that's like a little sweet little treat at the
Yeah.
end, you know.
Kyle was super sick last week too. So
Yeah.
I thought maybe you got it from him when you stopped by for a minute, but I think he'd gotten over it by then.
Yeah, I feel like we might have had separate things though. I mean,
he was like bedridden for like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, no, I didn't get that crazy. It was more just like, it was all like head stuff.
Yeah.
Like 90% head stuff.
Yeah, when he gets sick, he's out.
Yeah.
He doesn't really have a mid ground. He kind of just like is dead.
Right.
But damn, that sucks.
Yeah, I'm glad that it wasn't as bad as, because a lot of people were getting sick around me, at work and stuff too, and they were telling me all sorts of crazy stuff. So
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, it wasn't terrible. It's like, maybe 12 hours of feeling a little shittier than,
Yeah. I haven't gotten really sick in a while. And my stomach was bothering me the other day, but that's nothing abnormal. But I think it was like 2 weeks ago. I was like, I had just pulled into work, and I got the worst acid reflux I've had in a while, and I just puked everywhere.
Yeah.
My boss was walking to my car to come greet me at the same time. He was like, you need to go home. I was like, yeah, that's probably okay. I don't
That's
know
rough.
what just happened.
Right.
But
That's
I
rough,
go
yeah.
take care of it. My mouth was on fire for like hours after. But I didn't vomit again. It was just like, bleh, and then it was like horrible burning for a while.
Wow. Yeah, you puked
Brand.
straight acid.
Yeah, straight acid. Oh, it was gnarly. I don't know what happened. Anyway, so this is a video game podcast.
Yeah.
We play video games here, and we talk about video games. Not a lot of things happen over the week, but a couple of things happened like the day that we published the episode. Capcom had a spotlight event. They're really bad, every single one. They're usually trailers for things that we already know about.
Yeah.
They don't usually do anything reveals, and this time around it was like trailers we've already seen, like from the Game Awards and stuff, which was weird. But
Yeah.
in the middle of all that, they announced a remake or a remaster of Onimusha 2, the PS2 game from like 2003. They did an Onimusha 1 remake a few years ago now. And then I guess it did silently okay. Like, Capcom never talked about sales or anything like that, but it sold enough where the new one got greenlit. We saw the trailer for that at Game Awards. Was that Game Awards? That sounds like Game Awards. And then, yeah, now they re-showed that trailer, and they were like, but then we got other news. Onimusha 2. They're just calling the remaster that, and I think it had a subtitle. I forgot what it was, but I guess they're dropping it for the remaster. Other than that, the day that we published the podcast, the Video Game History Foundation has now revealed their library archive, internet archive. It's still in very early beta, but what I'm about to play for you, at least for my nerdy ass, this is
Folks,
what
the
they've
Video
been
Game
building
History
up
Foundation
for
library is now
a while.
out open
I'll put on
wherever
captions
you are.
because
We're
we don't have our
starting to roll out
headphones in.
digital access to our collections of video game history material, and they're free for everyone to access right now.
The Video Game History Foundation is
If you're
their
new
whole
here, you might be
goal
wondering who
is
we are and why we're
a
doing
non-profit
this. The Video Game
organization
History
to
Foundation is a nonprofit
preserve the
organization
history.
dedicated to
I'm
making video
saying
game
it right now.
history better.
But,
Thanks to the support of generous donors like you, we've been able to push
Me.
game history and
Me.
game preservation to the next level. We're fighting for reforms to help make video game history more accessible and working with members of the game industry to celebrate and preserve its legacy. And for the last 8 years, we've been building an archive filled with the kind of stuff researchers need to understand the history of video games. Things like game development materials, press kits, artwork, media coverage, memorabilia, and more. And we want you to be able to use it, whether you're writing a book or just making a
Balls of
video,
steel.
Yeah.
you're a
Duke
researcher.
Nukem.
And we want you to have access to the information that will make your research better without having to fly out here to California.
It's like they really
to
have
see it.
everything.
Our solution
Oh yeah, and, yeah, because people
Last
just
winter,
donate,
we put
like,
out a video
Right.
showing
people
you how
leave the
library
industry and
system
just
works.
donate giant
If you want,
archives of
you
stuff.
Can check that out right now.
It's
Today,
incredible.
we're
Yeah, and they
offering the
sell
first
so
week
much
open
more.
access
Yeah.
content in our library. There's some pretty exciting collections we're kicking off with, along with over 1,500 out-of-print video game magazines. Let's take a quick look at what you'll be able to see first and how we're turning this physical library into a digital resource. First off, we're going to talk about our collections of development materials.
I'm so
and this is
itchy.
the
I
really
don't know why
juicy
I'm so
stuff.
itchy.
We think
It's
the best
cold,
way to study
but
video game
I'm
history
gone
is to
outside.
have access to materials from the making of games. Things like development documents, scripts, source code, original
I just want that
artwork,
jacket. It's really
video
nice.
footage,
I like the
Is
little
it-
symbols.
Yeah, I think they're on the website.
meeting notes that can tell you how video games got made
Or like
and
a nice
sold.
little hat or
So,
something.
we've been working with
Yeah.
members
What does
of
that remind me of?
the
Is that like a mock of another
capture
thing?
and preserve their work.
Like a
Dude.
familiar.
Our flagship collection is the Mark
like logo.
papers. Mark
I mean, it kind of reminds me of like the
who had an
PlayStation
amazing
symbols or
run
Maybe.
something like
in the
that.
No.
2000s
I think it-
working for publishers
Something
like
else?
Has that like
Konami,
kind of like
Flame,
80s, 90s
Midway,
vibe?
and Atari.
Maybe
Yeah.
maybe
It
that's
wasn't
it
the
though.
one programming or usually
Or like the
designing
V8, the
games, but he was
VCR
the one
kind of
who made
colors,
sure
I
they
think.
got done. If you want to know
Oh,
about
yeah.
Something like that, you know,
video
the
games, Mark's
For
collection
sure.
that might be
has
it.
everything.
Something like
Budgets,
that.
marketing plans, licensing guides, charts, angry
Yeah, they have to
memos
make sure
about
they include all the
deadlines,
like
and 5 minutes of Macho Man Randy Savage losing his mind in a recording that Mark Flipman made for a wrestling game in the 90s.
They got socks. They got a few different T-shirts and stuff.
nice.
No hoodie right now
We'll
though.
have plenty to share about
They got a
Mark's story in
beanie.
the future,
You're slacking.
but that's
Oh,
not
I'll
all
take.
we have
Okay,
from Game
I'll take a
Beanie.
beanie.
You might have
Coffee
seen our video
mug.
last year about the lost
Thanks.
levels
Oh,
of
both.
Sonic the
They got a
Hedgehog.
bunch of fine
All
art
that
prints
original
from
art from
Atari.
Artist Time
Okay.
is part of our library,
pretty
along
nice.
with art from other games.
That's
like the
cool.
original
They got like the old
concepts from the
original
cult
art
GameCube
stuff.
They got a
Snake
giant art
Go
print
Go
from
Hyper.
UFO 50.
And we are especially
Nice.
That's
proud
pretty
to have
cool.
preserved over 100 hours
They
of
got a
video
bunch of
from the
T-shirts,
making
though,
of the
and
movie
a-
series by developer Cyan, including
a stocking.
never-before-seen interviews with the
Oh,
developers.
so this is
Cyan
something
has
cool
been
that they do
a
while
believer in our mission,
while
and
we're
they've
talking
been
about
unbelievably
this or they're
generous
going
with
on
their
is that you can subscribe to their vintage video game magazine subscription. It's $15 a month, but they send you a vintage magazine
We're gonna
every
show you
month.
some things that you might not
Um,
think of as traditional research sources.
Whatever
That's
is
cool.
in their archive,
Wow.
because obviously they're splicing magazines for scans and everything,
Right.
but they have so many
And we've
extras.
got some great
Um,
context for you. For starters,
That's a
we've
cool way.
digitized the first 100 CDs from our massive collection of art and press materials from GamePro magazine. If you were a game publisher, CDs like these are how you would send artwork, screenshots, and press releases to game magazines. And the folks at GamePro held on to almost everything they were sent. Many of these were in obsolete digital formats that there's no good way for most people to read on a modern device. So we did our best at getting them into a format you can view in your browser. But don't worry, we kept the originals too. And we digitized some of our guidebooks from E3, the Electronic Entertainment Expo. E3s were huge events for video game promotion. And if you've ever tried researching an E3, you know how hard it is to figure out who was showing off
So
what at
fucking
the
cool.
event.
Yeah.
These books have lists of every single booth and every single company at the show. This is the most complete record you'll probably ever find of E3, short of having a time machine. I was just flipping through one of these books and I saw a listing for a game called Pretzel Pete by Stealth Productions. I've never heard of this before, but I guess it was shown at E3 1999. What the hell was Pretzel Pete? I needed to know. Well, that sent me down a research rabbit hole. I searched for Pretzel Pete in our library system, and one of the only other places it's ever mentioned is in an issue of PC Gamer from 1999. And that's what we're talking about last today, video game magazines. Game magazines are a great way to learn about what was happening in the video game industry and what people were saying about games back in the day. So we wanted our magazine collections to be searchable and well cataloged. Now, we saved this part of the video for last because this might sound really simple, but you're not going to believe how much work this took to get right. The gaming community has already been scanning tons of video game magazines over the years. So for our library, we set out to build on what the community has already done. Many of the scans in our library were provided by community groups, like Retro Mags and Out of Print Archive. We also invested in new infrastructure to do our own high-quality scans in-house. When we get a copy of a magazine to scan,
very expensive machine, does like an insane amount of pages a minute.
Really?
Yeah.
Per minute at archival quality.
That's sick.
Yeah, 50 pages per minute.
Wow.
Doesn't mean we have a good resource for researchers. And that's what this
Well, like most scanners do, like 2.
Right.
If I were to use this shitty printer scanner.
And that's a lot harder than it sounds. The software that makes it possible to search through a magazine scan, generally speaking, is designed to work on plain documents. We're talking high contrast text, dark fonts on light backgrounds, something that might come out of your home printer. Not whatever this is. If you've ever read a 90s video game magazine, you know how crazy those magazine layouts are.
Yeah, they were not always the best choices.
But yeah, most like screen printers can't even
handle that kind of layering.
Yeah, that kind of coloring.
Right.
And then let alone read all the text as well.
Correctly, yeah.
Yeah.
Just look here. Here's an example. Here's that page we just saw. This is from a magazine called Die Hard Game Fan. This is what most text recognition software sees, and here's what our system got.
Wow.
It's night and day. There's
it's
just no
mind-blowing.
comparison. We didn't want to launch the library until we got this right. And thanks to all these new tools, video game magazines are a better resource for studying game history than they ever have been before.
Hell yeah.
This is just the beginning.
Yes.
Our digital library is the long-term home for our collections. And
Just
over
did
the
that.
coming years, we're
Sick
going
ass
to
Laura
keep building
Croft.
the library
Yeah.
and adding new material.
Yeah, there was
We have
a.
whole
They
store
did that
group
for a
focused
while,
on
where like
processing,
game
so
studios
there
would
is
do
plenty
like
to come.
giant
We've been building
full
towards this for a
statues
long
of video
time,
game
and we
characters.
think this is
There's
going
the
to
Laura
change how
Croft
people study
one
video
that's
games.
famous.
You don't have to take our word for it. We gave some
Skyrim
of
had
our
one
friends an early
for
preview
the
of our library
Dragonborn,
system,
and then Fallout had one for the armor, and the Pip-Boy. There's a giant Pip-Boy out there too. Or Vault Boy, not Pip-Boy, but the Vault Boy from the Pip-Boy. But they're very expensive to make, and I don't know what the point was, because a lot of them just got sent to like magazine studios or whatever to keep in their office.
Right. What was their plant? Were they going to put them all in a museum or something?
Yeah. And these are all just like testimonies about the Video Game History Foundation. Be like, you should support them. Just different people from.
That's
the
really cool,
industry.
though. Yeah.
Yeah. So a few things I do want to cover from there. Play like one of their old videos or something like that.
Play the Oregon Trail.
Oh, the Oregon. Oh, that's a full out. That's not even them too.
Oh.
But that's like a full oral history. So the Video Game History Foundation has been going for a very long time, and this kind of like been their mission statement since the beginning, of trying to get this like archive going and stuff like that.
Right.
I think it was like 5 or 6 months ago, we talked about the lawsuit, or it wasn't really a lawsuit, but they were going against the Supreme Court to get their. Let me turn this down because it's playing music. The magazines and stuff like that, while it's all readable text and stuff like that, there's not really a good way to preserve video games and especially in a library format. Like, you can go to the library and check out a video game. Most libraries have like a little collection of games. Some of them carry the modern stuff too.
Right.
But for the most part, it's just like they'll have like 30 or 40 games, and you can go check out like a library book or whatever, but nothing super extensive. But the big thing with video games is that preservation has been a huge problem since the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, since the 70s. Where, like, a lot of these games were ephemeral and weren't meant to be... they were just little things that people would send back and forth to friends and stuff like that back in the day.
Right.
And a lot of this stuff really wasn't taken seriously up until the late 80s, early 90s. And even then, it was still pretty niche. But because of technology and stuff like that, like, backing up games and code and stuff like that was pretty hard. And you would need an extensive library at a video game studio in order to keep codes and things, like, and then to be able to reformat it to modern hardware and stuff like that over time and stuff like that takes somebody in the back end to keep doing it. So, like, a lot of games that we played as kids, like, are just lost to time.
Right. Yeah. Just knowing. I mean, you have to just knowing how to put it onto the next thing. Someone has to invent that.
Yeah.
Like, just to... That alone is like a whole new concept.
Right.
You know?
I mean, there's been plenty of times where at Konami... I think it's Konami who's been the one to say it, but... During the remasters and stuff like that, Konami does a lot of remasters of, like, Castlevania and stuff like that. They've said back in, like, the early 2010s and stuff, like, we just don't know where the code is because nobody thought to keep it around, you know?
Oh, right, yeah.
For mini games, like, when they were trying to remaster things, and that goes for a lot of studios, too. I just think that, I thought it was Konami was, like, the ones to say it. And then it was like, yeah, that happened all the time. It was just... studios would move on to the next thing or whatever,
right.
Especially like licensed games and stuff like that, which are even more harder to you know, like, backwards compatibility or anything like that. Like, licenses fall out of time, and then the money doesn't have anywhere to go, and that's also a big thing of, like, trying to resell these games. Like, a lot of the studios that made games in the 90s, early 2000s just don't exist anymore. So, like, that money just goes into a black hole because somebody owned the rights, and then those IP fell through, and then some bank conglomerate bought up a bunch of IP, and then they're selling it piecemeal, and then, you know, some studio shell buys up a bunch of stuff for the download, kind of like Microsoft, and then now they're just sitting on hundreds of dead IP. And somebody has to sift through that stuff to be like, hey, Xbox, you own fucking Heretic. Mm-hmm. We would like to see a Heretic remake. But it's also like, well, is that code still around? Mm-hmm. Is that, did anybody think to save it? Or is... If you are going to sell it, is the juice worth the squeeze? Is it worth is it worth making it, being able to buy it? You know, like I mean, yes, it is worth it. And every video game, big or small, like, is a piece of history, especially in this context. But the Video Game History Foundation still hasn't found a way to kind of preserve that part of their catalog, which is very extensive. Like, I can only imagine the kind of stuff that they have, like, pre-release builds and, like, crazy expensive video game hardware that would be, if not impossible to buy, like
Right.
insanely expensive to buy. And video games too. Like as we travel further in time, like there's now NES games and SNES games that are over the $5,000-$6,000 range,
Wow.
and that's just not feasible for anyone.
No, that's
Like,
crazy.
And then
That's
if it is feasible for somebody, you're not. I would imagine the person who's buying a $5,000 cart is not going to be playing that cart.
right.
There's that. There's carts that only got 100 copies released, and then the company went defunct and they stopped printing. Like,
right.
Or there's like the World Championship carts that are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, but they were only giving out to championship winners.
Mm.
There are very specific things like that need to be preserved, but there's also like everything in between the cracks and everything like that. The other thing I want to say about the Video Game History Foundation is a lot of the stuff that they have is American specifically. So if anybody outside of the country wants to send stuff to them, please do. They are taking donations.
Oh, that's cool.
Especially like European magazines and Japanese, like Gamatsu and Famitsu and stuff like that. There's so many European magazines, like, and in Europe, and especially in the UK, like, video game magazines are still a thing.
Oh, okay.
Like, a lot of I think PlayStation Mag is still getting print there, but EGM was still going for a very long time. I forgot what the big one is. I thought it's like Slack or something like that. But there's still a couple of really big magazines out there, but importing costs and stuff like that, it's a lot harder to get those magazines here in the States.
Right. Yeah.
Especially if they're never printed here.
Mm.
So yeah, they're taking donations. Obviously, everything takes time.
Yeah.
And then it takes time for it to get scanned in, and then it takes time for somebody to look through it all and make sure, like, nothing got fucked up on the back end. But I think this shit is so cool. Like, I've been waiting for something like this for a long time. Especially from them, like, they've been talking about an archive forever.
Yeah.
And it's already pretty extensive. Like, it's crazy the kind of stuff that they have. They talked about the dude Mark Flipman for a second. I don't know who he was, but he worked for, like, Konami and stuff back in the 90s, where you just, all of these internal emails and stuff like that. And it probably wasn't even emails. It was, like, fucking typed hand documents that were put in, like, people's doors and stuff like that.
Wow, yeah.
But it was, like, thousands and thousands of pages of stuff like that, and design docs, and internal season's greetings cards and stuff like that. Like, a bunch of cool, weird stuff.
Right. Just all the behind the scenes little niche things. That's neat.
Yeah. Like, the magazines are extensive, and there's so many crazy cool things in there. Like, there was stuff from the 80s in there. But also, yeah, like, crazy stuff that you just wouldn't be able to get your hands on as the public. Or even, like, the press stuff, like the E3, like, press kits and stuff like that. Like, all that shit's so cool. Not super interesting when you deep dive into that stuff, but you get to learn, like, the layups and stuff like that.
Right.
And, yeah, I think all of that's really cool. That's really it for the Video Game History Foundation, though. That's really all the updates that we have right now. I mean, they, of course, taking donations and stuff. They have merch.
That'd be cool if they made, like, a physical museum.
Yes, so
They could, like, walk around and...
I think they do. I believe they have a physical location. It's not big.
No.
It's like the size of this house.
No, okay.
But a lot of their magazine collection is not there. It's like in a storage warehouse kind of thing.
Right, probably safely tucked away from.
Yeah, same thing with the video games and stuff like that. But they do have a lot of it there. Yeah, you can go there. They don't have like a display or anything like that. It's more of a library than a museum.
But it'd be cool if they did, if they made something more museum like
Right.
with all the the big figurines and the different old school games. Because there was a thing that I went to. I think it might have been in DC. I don't remember. It was some museum, but there was like a temporary thing, and it was like it was like a video game thing, and they had like a bunch of new games, but then they had this one area where it was like the age of games, and you got to see like a bunch of older games and stuff.
Probably spelled museum wrong. It's a weird word.
But this was like a temporary exhibit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it was sick.
Yeah. So, I mean, there were a few instances like that of, like, back in the day, like, and so we talked about Disney, right, in a couple podcasts ago. In the 90s, Sega in Epcot had a Sega store, and it was a giant Sega arcade thing, but they had a bunch of that kind of stuff.
That's really cool.
But in Texas, they have the Video Game History Museum.
Oh. What part of Texas?
I think it's outside of Austin. This might not be the one that I'm looking for, though. Of course, this video is, like, from 30 years ago. Yeah, I thought this was Texas. I'll look it up real quick. The video game history, the video game. This is not related to the Video Game History Foundation. This is a different company, but this is what you're talking about. Video Game History Museum. I put the EU in the wrong place. Frisco, Texas. It's a lot bigger now. And the kiosks and stuff like that, like they have like a lot of like
oh, nice, yeah,
playable hardware and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for.
But this is what you're talking about.
I don't know if that's close to where I'll be.
Frisco? No. It's Frisco's near Dallas, right? I think so. Yeah, it's part of Dallas.
That's like 3 hours away.
Yeah, it's like North Dallas, like 3-4 hours away from Austin. But it's a big building, and they have a lot of cool stuff. They have a Mega 64 area, which I'm a huge Mega 64 fan. The sketch comedy guys that I watch a lot.
Oh, right, yeah.
That do all the video game stuff. But they have a whole area dedicated.
That's cool. That's really
them.
cool that they have an area.
Yeah, and their videos are like playing 24/7, like all their old.
Nice.
Like, yeah, it's really cool.
That's super sick.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Maybe I'll make the drive. I mean, I don't have a vehicle out there, but
right. It's so cool. I mean, like, it would be worth it, but I don't know, like, I don't know the extent of how much is, this is even actually at the museum. He just panned out. This is at E3. This is just like stuff that they brought to their booth. I saw the E3 if he goes back up. Unless if it's yeah, no, they're at E3 for sure. Yeah, there's all the E3 flags back there.
Yeah.
A World of Tanks booth. Machinima back there as well. Speaking of Machinima, that is something we can talk about real quick. We can talk about people losing their jobs at BioWare and stuff like that.
Oh, no.
But instead of people losing their jobs, Rooster Teeth closed down at the beginning of this year. Burnie Burns has bought back Rooster Teeth from Warner Brothers. There's a little like 10-minute podcast he did. He has like a morning show with his wife. And they did like a 10-minute podcast. It's all audio, like explaining about what this is and what their new mission will be. But basically, Burnie sold the company in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. Not the early 2000s, mid 2000s to full screen. And basically stayed on as CEO, but left as CEO, I don't know, probably almost 10 years ago now. And kind of like stepped away from the company. He had a kid. They moved to Ireland or something like that, and he retired. You gonna play any caption? Oh, there's no captions. So he's basically been gone for a while. He hasn't. The last few years of Rooster Teeth being around, he wasn't there.
That's cool though.
Burnie is kind of. I mean, he's one of the pioneers of video on the internet. Red versus Blue and stuff. Let alone like the later stuff with like Ruby and the anime and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which I mean, like he more produces that. That's not his brainchild, but he produced it with Rooster Teeth and everything. But Red versus Blue being the early internet videos and stuff like that, like this guy was ahead of his time and still kind of is ahead of his time. He sees the internet and the bigger scope of things when he understands it a lot more than most people.
Yeah.
And kind of, I think he kind of left Rooster Teeth at the right moment of like seeing it kind of like go down a different trajectory that what he had envisioned.
Yeah.
Because when he was CEO, like they were doing like pretty high budget stuff. They put out 2 movies. They did like a full out like hardcore like drama show. Maybe it was even like 3 movies or something, like 3 or 4 movies. But then they also did a show called Immersion, which was like bringing video games to real life of like what would happen if you really tried to assassinate somebody in a ballroom, Hitman style.
Oh, I think I've seen that.
Like
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, they did the amateur surgeon in the ambulance video as well, where they try to perform an operation.
Oh, really?
While the ambulance is like moving and stuff. Yeah, Immersion's really good. The Rooster Teeth now, of course, has disbanded. They disbanded them at the beginning of the year. A lot of the people that were part of Rooster Teeth have moved on to other things. So, like, what he talked about with this purchase is that they aren't trying to get back to making movies or doing all that crazy stuff. They want to bring it back to the initial vision of it. And Red vs. Blue is owned by Warner Brothers now, so I think any of the animation stuff will probably just not be a part of this. It'll probably be mostly podcast-focused stuff for now.
Yeah.
But a lot of people have moved on. The podcasts that have sprouted around the Rooster Teeth falling and they've succeeded. They're doing great. I listen to one called Face Jam a lot. Face Jam they just go review fast food every week.
Nice.
Or I think it's every other week. But anyways, it's like all the crazy gimmick food and stuff like that. That one's really fun. But again, Burnie hasn't been a part of the company for a while, so Burnie isn't a part of any of this podcasts. He kind of just has his little morning show, Morning Somewhere. And that's really the only. It's really the only thing he's done since he's left, and the morning show is pretty new, from what I understand. Like, he's only been doing it for like a year or so.
Oh, really?
But he's made a lot of money. Like, him buying Rooster Teeth, I'm sure costs a lot of money, but what he sold Rooster Teeth for was at its height, and I'm sure he got out very well, and he probably invested a lot of money and done other things that,
right.
He said, oh, we were able to buy it because of our Patreon support. I looked at their Patreon, and I don't think they're making that much money. Because there's like 300 patrons in total. And in order to buy Rooster Teeth back, I don't know how much they bought Rooster Teeth back.
Right.
But if it's like $10,000, maybe.
Yeah.
But if it's a few million, there's no way.
I mean, I don't know.
Dude's definitely sitting on some
Probably, yeah. But
some money.
he just didn't want to brag about it.
Oh yeah, for sure. He was trying to be humble.
Right.
But I don't
have
want it
the
to be
support.
understated of like how much something like this costs.
Right.
What like I said, it doesn't have subtitles there, but he walks in there. It's just a little comedy bit of like he walks in there, all the lights are off, and he's like, "Where'd everyone go?"
Right. It's a
Because
big
he
old studio. Yeah.
Yeah, because he had also been gone for so long, as well. Yeah, their old studio, like when they were finished, was 4 or 5 airplane hangars.
Yeah. Wow.
I think Hangar 8 is it's in Austin. They're an Austin company. They had Hangar 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 out of the 8 airplane hangars there, I think.
Wow.
Maybe even the 6th one as well. But yeah, they also at the end of their run, they had like 300 employees or something like that. They were giant, and whether they needed to be or not is another whole situation of like expansion versus like what they were doing and stuff like that. But like a lot of their employees were animators, so I know people see 300 employees and be like, they weren't all on camera. How is that possible?
Right. Well, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff.
Right. A lot of them were
back end.
Yeah, it takes a lot of people to make Ruby, and fucking.
At least effective, like quickly, and because it could take one person, but that would take that one person forever.
Right, and Red vs. Blue has been fully animated since like the early 2010s.
Right.
Monty came on and basically changed the whole way that they did Red vs. Blue. And when Monty would later create Ruby, he died during a surgery, like, pretty young, pretty early into the Ruby run. But they stopped doing machinima-style animations very early. Like, the old Red vs. Blue was all captured on an original Xbox with video games and stuff like that. And then at some point they got access to assets and stuff from
actual software.
Yeah. But again, they're not going back towards that. So it'll be interesting to see. It's tangentially related to video games because of Red vs. Blue. But yeah, I don't know how far they'll go. They have the old logo back.
Yeah, they just took a teeth away.
Yeah,
that's cute.
I
like that.
They changed. It wasn't too long after Burnie left, but they did change the logo, and like this horrible, like, it was like an R. It was like a blue R with a kind of like the rooster feathers on top of its head thing. I was hoping that maybe somebody would have it like just right here under the thing, but yeah, they have the old logo back, and then it's missing a tooth, which is. pretty cool. Of course, Achievement Hunter is not gonna be a part of it. They're all doing their own thing.
Yeah.
People were talking about Funhouse. Funhouse isn't coming back. Funhouse is in LA. They're not even in Austin, let alone. Funhouse was a different company before they got bought by Rooster Teeth. They were part of Inside Games for a long time, and then they all got bought out by Rooster Teeth, and there was a couple of other things, but basically, Rooster Teeth is back.
Yeah, they can buy us out, Rooster Teeth. We'll work for you.
I mean, yeah.
We'll be your two top news broadcasters, whatever you're into.
I mean, Rooster Teeth, for a long time, I really wanted to work there.
You look like you have a lot of room.
The reason why I wanted to go to school and get an internship and everything like that.
Yeah. And now's your chance. They're starting anew.
Yeah, I don't know.
Reapply. Send in your...
How many hires they on their little podcast, because they had company numbers, and I was like, Burnie was number 1.
Yeah.
And then like the founding members were like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then later it would be like number 300 something, and they talked about that a lot. Now on the morning show episode, they're like, yeah, we're back to 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Employee 1 and employee 2.
All right, we'll take a chance and invite us to be 3 and 4, and you'll have the best time.
Yeah. So like back in the day, they also did have a network of podcasts. Like Rooster Teeth had their own channel, but they did become an MCN at some point.
Yeah.
A multi-channel network. Basically, like, they not only would they like house a lot of like these groups and stuff, but they were like the reason why you would get ads and stuff like that on. Like, they would do all of that work to help you like find ads for your podcast and stuff, because that's somebody's job to just do all of that.
Right.
And yeah, so like if you have somebody who could take care of all that, that's just a lot easier. And then they can ideally get you better ads and stuff like that. It's kind of like the idea of an MCN, is you have somebody handle all of that back end with the goal of them being able to like get you better deals and more money and stuff. They did that for a long time, probably up until the end. Kind of Funny was part of their MCN for a very long time. Then they had... I forgot what the other one was. Easy Allies was part of their MCN for a while. I think Funhouse might have started as an MCN and they just bought them, but I could be completely wrong. Sugar Pine 7 was another one from back in the day. There's quite a few. I doubt they're ever going to go back to that. MCNs nowadays don't really exist.
No?
No. I mean, they exist, but not in the way that they used to.
No.
Where, like, you have basically, like, a middleman for ads now. Of, like, you have a podcast thing like Rice Gum or something like that. You pay a subscription, you download it there, they give you an RSS feed, but they theoretically populate it with ads and everything like that as well.
Right.
MCNs back in the day, in the early 2010s and stuff, would handle all of that, but also would take giant percentages, would like kind of handle all of the management side of things as well. They would handle ad deals straight up.
Yeah.
So like your Raid Shadow Legends deals and all of that kind of things.
Yeah.
But they were known to fuck people over. Like, I mean, they were like record labels, but for YouTubers.
Right.
Where like the whole idea of being a YouTuber is being independent and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like, you have an MCN coming in and taking like 30-something% for some of them. And then, like, ad fluctuation and stuff like that, AdSense became worth less and less over time. Like, ads in the early 2010s were worth a lot more money than what they are now.
Mm-hmm.
PewDiePie getting 100,000 views back in 2010 was a lot of money.
Right.
100,000 views now is like $10.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there's a huge discrepancy there of like what that really is now. It's more than $10. It's probably closer to $800, if that, depending on what kind of ads are rolling. But that's a whole other thing with like an MCN. They're supposed to get you the better ads, but depending on now, like YouTube has it where your channel has to be above a certain level to get the best kind of ads.
Right.
But if you're a brand new channel, like, you can only get, like, banner ads or something like that. And not even a brand new channel. You have to have, like, over 1,000 subs now to have, like, memberships. And then I think it's 5,000 for banner ads.
Oh, wow.
But in 2010, anybody could have AdSense. Whether you had 1 subscriber or you had 1 million subscribers. You could play ads on your YouTube videos. So it was a lot different of a field. Also, like, Warner Brothers had an MCN, Disney had an MCN,
Yeah.
Full Screen was one. Full Screen would end up getting bought by Warner Brothers, so that was a whole other thing of, like, you have one MCN swallowing another. Machinima, as well, was an MCN for a long time.
Wow.
Even before that. Machinima was a giant MCN. They had Red vs. Blue and Rooster Teeth and stuff, but Funhouse came from there. Inside Games came from there.
Oh, right.
They, Wooly, the Super Best Friend Bros or whatever.
I don't know about that.
I forgot.
That's cool.
Wooly is more famous now as Wooly, but the Super Best Friends were like, they did like fighting games and stuff like that. But their most famous videos, I think, were like the Obama videos and stuff like that.
No.
They did like different. I could be getting them completely wrong of like what thing was what, but they would do like impressions and stuff across video games. And the hard thing was with MCN channels was like, the Machinima channel was just a feed of everybody, but there was like no delineation of like who was who, unless if you knew the people.
Right.
So you'd have like a Red versus Blue day, and then like some random impression video the next day, and then there's no like rhyme or reason. But that wasn't the point of those things. It was mostly for ads and stuff, producing. Yeah. That's really all I have for news. I mean, like I said, BioWare basically came out and said, hey, Dragon Age didn't do too well. The director had left a couple of weeks ago. And she was like, hey, I have a new position open. Or I've accepted a new position at a different studio. I am leaving BioWare. She had basically come on to Dragon Age to help finish it because Dragon Age, the original Dragon Age, the Vilgard that was coming out was a live service game beforehand.
Oh.
The BioWare was making like an Anthem version of Dragon Age, is kind of like what the pitch was, and then at some point they were like, yeah, we're just gonna make this a single player game. So she came on and helped finish it. Whether it was good or not or whatever, like, people have their things about it, but Dragon Age did not sell well.
Oh.
I think it sold like half of what they were predicting.
Oh, wow.
It sold... They didn't say how many copies sold, but they said 1.5 million players played it.
That doesn't mean they all bought it, though.
Right, because of subscriptions and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Who knows what that means.
No.
But that game cost a lot of money and was in development for a very long time.
And that's not even a lot
No.
of that played it.
No.
Let alone buy it. That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, projected was 3 million.
Just purchased. Yeah.
Or played. I don't. It's so muddied of like, sold is good, but when you have like EA and Ubisoft and all of them is like they all have their subscription services now. It's like, I don't know if you guys want the $70 or do you want the $20 monthly. I don't know what's in your head and stuff like
really,
what's what.
It's hard now. Yeah, there's so many options.
But 3 million players played. It got half of that. Basically the word is that all of the narrative team has been laid off of BioWare. But it makes sense. I mean, one, the game wasn't written very well. Like, a lot of people have... The actual complaints I've seen from that game is that the story is dog trash and the writing does not make any sense.
Wow.
Like, not from a story level, but, like, that the way that they talk and stuff like that is very modern and, like, as if we were talking to one another versus, like, a fantasy world. I know there's, like, the whole woke anti-agenda attached to it as well, but a lot of, like, the actual criticism I see is, like, the writing does not fit what's going on at all. Like, you have characters fighting dragons and stuff, and they're saying, like, word and yo, what's up, and stuff like that.
No way,
like,
that's so funny.
And they're all, like, fantasy, you know, it's like dwarves and shit.
Right.
They're all talking like teenagers.
Well, I mean, you know, it's a new generation of writing.
Right. But, it's... BioWare as well hasn't made a good game in a long time. So that's the whole other side of this, is like they came out with Mass Effect 3, which was good, but a lot of people had some problems with the ending. Then they would come out with Anthem, which Anthem, I don't know what they were thinking there, but it wasn't terrible. It was just a weird online thing that had no foresight at all. And then they would come out with Mass Effect Andromeda. And Mass Effect Andromeda was a buggy hot shit mess with horrible writing. And
no.
Yeah.
I didn't play that one either.
No, there's pictures of the character models shooting their guns, but their guns are backwards facing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you have bullets shooting out the butt of the gun.
Yeah.
Like,
that's so funny.
It's like, that's like the tip of the iceberg with that game.
Wow.
God. But I assume those sold okay. Because BioWare is still around. Dragon Age did not sell well. I know they did that the Mass Effect collection not too long ago. That did okay. That probably saved this studio. Honestly, of like where we're at right now, that collection has probably saved the studio.
Oh wow.
Because Dragon Age, of course, less than 1 million copies sold is probably what we're looking at right now. And that's just crazy for a game that's been 7 years in development and has completely changed direction mid-cycle. So you gotta, get rid of your live service team to fully get them on board to either, like, work on that or, like, shift them over to something else. Which, that's another thing, I guess, on top of that, is that not everyone from BioWare is leaving BioWare is getting fired. A lot of them are being shifted over to other things on EA.
Yeah.
It just all depends on if they decide to go with it or not.
Right.
Because, I mean, BioWare is the only studio that EA has like that.
Okay.
And there's BioWare and Motive. Motive does some other type of games that aren't sports games, but the rest of EA's studios are sports games.
Right.
Motive did the Dead Space remake recently.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And then before that, they did Star Wars Squadrons, which was the dogfighting VR. They had a VR mode, but it was straight up ship combat in space and stuff.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, Motive, they spread their wings a little bit. They're a little bit more diverse than the rest of the EA portfolio.
Nice.
And then there's DICE. DICE is the other big one, or Respawn as well, I guess. So there's the Star Wars team.
Yeah.
But DICE is Battlefield. A lot of these people are going to Battlefield.
Yeah.
In fact, Battlefield also just released a trailer this week for a thing called Battlefield Labs.
Oh, okay.
I didn't look too far into it yet, but from what I understand, this is basically like, hey, we don't know how to make Battlefield, so we want your help to make Battlefield.
Oh.
But it's also kind of like a Forge mode for Halo kind of thing, which they were fucking around with that a little bit in the last game with 2042. But it seems like they're kind of like doubling down on that, which I think a lot of that community enjoyed, from what I understood. Like 2042 had a lot of shit thrown at it at the beginning, but from what I've understand, like the community has been steady with it since then.
Yeah.
I just don't know what they could do to make Battlefield exciting. Especially over Call of Duty or Fortnite or any other free-to-play game.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I really like about... I mean, the one thing that sticks out to me that I like about these games are just, like, how massive the maps are.
Scale. Yeah.
And so, you do have that, like, feeling of, like, you're in, like, a war versus, like, Call of Duty, everything's a lot more in your face. Even, like, the bigger maps are, like,
Yeah.
there's not, like, a ton of stuff going on in, like, a bunch of different directions.
Right.
It's still very kind of, like, back and forth.
Yeah. And the destructibility is also big.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah. That's also super huge.
Yeah.
Which that's slowly being added to more and more games, too, though. They're trying to, make more things
Right.
destructible. Maybe not entirely, but,
Right.
yeah, I don't know how, I mean...
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what else you can do without taking...
Oh, yeah, they do own Criterion
away
as well. Criterion does racing games, so...
Oh, yeah, I love racing games.
They do Need for Speed and... I mean, I guess just Need for Speed now. I was going to say Burnout, but they don't do Burnout anymore. Criterion is also... Fuck. Are they also the Alien team? That's a different studio. Criterion Games. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, like, bigger battles will be cool. I think name alone, the only thing that they could do to get people excited for it is Battlefield Bad Company 3. It's a giant septum ring.
It was, yeah.
Very
weird.
Games developed for... Yeah, Burnout, Need for Speed, that's all Criterion. Oh, they did do support on the Battlefield games, though. Battlefield 1, 5, and 2042. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm even interested in this. Like, the idea sounds cool of, like, I don't know, ideas and stuff like that. Like, getting the community more involved and everything. It just seems like they also don't know what direction they want to go with this.
Right.
As well. If they could do, like, a Battlefield Eras... I think that would be a way that I could get excited for, right?
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
If they did, like, you could be fucking World War II versus modern versus, like,
Or if they did it, remember, did you ever play that game back in there? There's a couple different renditions of it, where you, like, start off as a caveman, and then every time you, like, you get enough credits, you, like, level up to the next generation. So, like, you start off as a caveman, and then eventually, you discover the axe, so you upgrade to the axe, and then eventually you discover steel, so then you do steel. But it's just a side-scrolling thing. So, like, after you gain enough points, you press upgrade, and your
it's like
stuff
a god game?
upgrades accordingly. So, like...
I've never played that one, but I remember the pitch for,
But I think that would be sick. Like, you just, like, all the teams start off as just, like, you got a stick, and you got to kill enough people to get, like, your first whatever, you know, all the way up into the modern day gun or whatnot. Kind of like gun game, but not random.
Yeah. Oh, this isn't what I thought it was. Humanity is the puzzle game. There was a game in 2013, I want to say. PS3. If I did monkey game.
But you could, like, choose to upgrade, too. So you could technically, like, play the whole game as the caveman. It was just a lot harder because people, you know...
Right.
The other team was upgrading, so...
Well, the game that I'm thinking of, I don't know, I don't think it ever came out. But you start as, like, fucking Neanderthals and stuff like that. And then you, like, go through evolution-wise, like, this series of, the different stages of life and stuff. Oh, ancestors, this thing. This was, like, super ambitious. It never came out. I don't think it did.
Oh, no, whoa. That's crazy.
Right. And, like, looking at it now, it's like, yeah, I could believe this being a game.
Right.
But back then, it was like, there's no way. You're telling me I could be 700,000 years later? What does that even mean? Now they got sticks.
It's like a game trying to prove evolution, basically.
Yeah, basically.
That's still pretty sick, though. I wonder how far you go. But it's
Right.
kind of like Civ. Like how Civ, you start off, you know, and then eventually you make it to the moon. That, but in Battlefield. You know? So, like, with the teams, I don't know. I think that'd be sick. I think that'd be a way to do it.
Yeah.
And it'd be a cool, like, history lesson, too. Like, you can really see, like, you know, the evolution of war.
Yeah. No, I get it.
But
This is a game.
just a pitch, Battlefield, hire me if you're, you know, looking.
When I was pitching, I was thinking something closer to this.
Pizza.
Pizza sounds great.
So hungry.
You still owe me a pizza. Yeah. I mean, this is all medieval stuff. But this is kind of like what I thought it would be. And this still has a little bit more RTS.
Oh,
stuff.
Battlefield?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this would be sick, too. Like, just really modern day, like, sword and shield. Not this part, though. This is cool. I mean, this game's gotten pretty... People are loving this game.
Yeah. I'm so hyped for it.
But yeah, something like this, without the guns, but like, when's the last time you just played like a real castle, like this side, this sort of war, but like you're in like first person.
Oh, Chivalry. Have you played the Chivalry game?
No.
Chivalry.
Is that just this?
Yes.
But like just the weapons.
Yes.
That's cool. Well, then never mind. I don't know how to help you, Battlefield. Everything's been done already.
Well, like this hasn't. This is crazy.
Except this, right? But this is like.
I don't know.
This is just Evil Dead. Not, I mean, it isn't, but that's the first thing I think of every time I hear this
Ash
game
vs. Evil Dead,
is Ash vs. Evil Dead. And I feel like this is
Totally.
like a brain, like an earworm brain child of that.
But this is definitely, this has multiple eras it's going through.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it stayed in the, I didn't know it did this. I thought it just stayed in the castle era and you just showed up with like different
With
things
Yeah.
and wreck shit. I've never actually seen the
last-
gameplay. I've wanted to play it, but I've never.
Yeah. Yeah, it's still nothing yet on it, but it's coming. Q1 2025 early access. I don't know if I even want to jump in that early access. I think I might want to wait.
I'll wait, yeah. I got
What
enough.
was I going to show you? Oh, Chivalry. Chivalry 2 is the one that everybody is playing because why would you play Chivalry 1?
Yeah. Why would you?
Chival...
It's right there.
Oh.
Well, it was.
I definitely
It's still there.
was spelling it wrong.
Shiv.
Chivalry.
It's just about stabbing people with rusty
With
jail blades.
Yeah, dude.
I'll show you chivalry.
I mean, it's not far off.
Mm.
Not far off at all. It's actually reminds me of if you took the Monty Python fight with the Black Knight and just made it a video game.
Wow.
But it's all multiplayer as well. So all of these people are individual people playing.
That's sick.
And just extremely popular. It's not hard to find a match in this game at all.
Yeah, no, this is exactly what I was talking about. Yeah, this is great.
Chivalry rules, dude. And you can get on horses and shit. Yeah, the different traps and everything in the arenas and stuff you can set off. Like, there's some really cool stuff in these. I wonder how... Because it's been out for a while. They've probably updated quite a bit. You get your arms chopped off, so now you gotta figure out how to fight with one arm.
That's cool.
Yeah.
64 player.
Yeah. 32 on 32.
Wow.
He picked up the head and threw it at him.
He just shot a body with the trebuchet.
Yeah. You can get in the trebuchet and, like, shoot yourself across the map.
That's great.
Yeah.
Wow. It's 4 years old.
Yeah, Chivalry rules, dude. The first one's really good, too. Mordhau is the other one that people play. Kind of the same concept.
Is Chivalry only online? Or is
It's
there like a story mode where I can just kind of wreck shit?
only online. It's only the battles. I think even Mordhau is like that as well.
Because that was some of my favorite times too, like in the Lord of the Ring games, like when it's the big battle scenes and you're like
Yeah.
running through and everyone's fighting around you, but you're like, I love that feeling.
Yeah. Fuck, what game did I play like that, too, recently?
Like that's so fun. Oop.
Yeah, this is a different game. Same concept, different game.
Oh, got him. Oh no. Yeah, a lot more biomes.
Yes. Yeah, I think Mordhau's maps are a little bit more spread. You have a lot more density in there, too.
Yeah.
But I think it's still 64 players, I'm pretty sure. If not, it's probably close to it, but... Same concept. You're using the mouse to control your sword.
Mm.
But you can do, like, sick-ass parries and shit.
Oh, wow. Got squished by that thing.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Mordhau's sick. I think Chivalry might be on consoles. I don't know about Mordhau. Mordhau might just be PC.
Mm.
But yeah, there's also VR versions of these too. I don't know about these specific games, but games like that, like Grog, I think is one. You play as like a barbarian. You can just go around fucking killing shit in VR. Yeah, I don't know. We can talk about what we've been playing. I've been playing Hogwarts Legacy.
Yeah, how's that? Who is your house?
I am a Ravenclaw. Which
Wow.
is fitting. It's fitting.
Nerd.
Yeah, I'm a nerd. A goth nerd. But that's what I wanted. I was like, Slytherin or Ravenclaw. Ravenclaw is more fitting. I'd rather...
Nice. Well, they all have their own kind of like unique things in the game too.
Right.
So you don't have to, but the whole point is like to do all four of them eventually to kind of,
Yeah.
if you're into it like that, like to kind of see the nuances of each, you know.
Yeah, I saw that the achievements are broken down in a way of like, not all of them are this way, but some of them are like, do this as a Gryffindor, do this as a Ravenclaw.
Well, because there's some locations that are only available to certain houses too, other than their
common rooms.
There's
Yeah.
like story locations that like because you're this, you gain access to this path or whatever. That's like a little different.
That makes sense.
Because it all ties around like how the professors and stuff involved in the story see you as well, because their houses and their history and blah blah blah. It's a lot of stuff, but it's fun. It's a cool little thing. Kenya's on her third one.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah,
Fuck. Jeez.
She's been playing it since like the very beginning though. like
Jeez.
So.
Yeah, maybe 12 hours in. My PlayStation says 16 hours. The in-game clock says 8, so I'm gonna say I'm in between that somewhere. I just unlocked my skill trees finally.
Yeah.
I've been fucking around doing a lot of the side quests and stuff like that, but when I unlocked the skill trees, it was like at level 5, and I'm like level 17.
Nice.
So it was like, fuck.
Yeah.
I guess. Well, hey, I got points to spend.
Right.
So I did that. I put a bunch of stuff in just random things, because the skill tree isn't like stat based. It's all actual skills.
Yes.
So it's like stuff that I don't know if I'll ever necessarily use.
Yeah, some of it's a lot more niche.
Yeah, like curses and stuff like that. I'm like, I haven't done a curse before.
Yeah, I mean, eventually you'll get into like combat, and I think that's when it's necessary, and you'll end up having to like swap stuff out.
Right.
Like, oh, I don't need to open doors right now. I have to.
The combat is pretty involved.
Yeah.
I do like actually fighting in that game.
I really like the fighting because it's 360. Like people are shooting and attacking you from all over at once. Like you're not just like 1v1 and everyone's waiting around. So like you're constantly like zipping and it feels cool like doing that. I really like that.
I love parrying and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that feels really good. It does get a little bit much of like, I think the enemy placement could be better and more thought out.
Yeah.
In order to make enemies not just be obliterated, because like you can shoot through enemies pretty fast. I mean, it's not like extremely hard, but the way that they balance the difficulty of a fight is that they just give your enemies different colored shields. Is like the way that they balance that out of like, hey, well, now you got 3 purple guys, a red guy, and a blue guy, and you can only do one magic towards them in order to break that shield.
Yeah, well,
and that kind of ruins the flow of a fight.
Yeah, I think that's just more so like you're actually like using different spells. So
Right.
like you're supposed to be constantly like in that mode of,
Right.
actual spelling.
And that it just it
Whatever.
breaks combos pretty fast, and I think for a game that is tracking that,
Yeah.
it's not the most conducive to it. But I don't usually find myself trying to break their shields. I usually will focus on an enemy that doesn't have a shield, and then wait for one of those shielded enemies to do an attack.
Yeah.
And then you can parry it, and then if you parry those attacks, it will break their shield without
Right.
having to do a specific magic.
Yeah, there's definitely a couple different strategies to it. And that's like another cool thing is like you get enough spells and your options open up
Right.
to the types of combat you can do as well.
Right, and I'm still pretty early in the game, so like, I definitely don't have all my spells yet. Like, Expelliarmus is the one that I just got.
Yeah, right.
The disarming one.
Yeah.
That was the most recent spell, but other than that, like, I don't even think I've been to all my classes yet. I think I still have like 1 or 2 classes that I still need to do day 1 on.
Yeah. So have you like even left the campus yet and like
Yes.
went to because there's like
Yeah. Yeah.
you know other
I've been to
maps and
Hogsmeade
stuff.
and Hogsfield are the only 2 places I've been.
Yeah.
Hogsfield is like a little village area thing. It's not. There's nothing really even much to it.
Right.
I
I think it's more story. Like you have to go there a couple times for the story and stuff.
Yeah, I think it's more of like, hey, we got a couple of things right here, and then like that's kind of like your area to like go off from here to go off to the other side of the map.
Right.
When the map opened up and they showed me like there was a lot more to than just Hogwarts, I was pretty blown away of how big it was. I was like, damn. Now running around in that map, I wonder how much it's actually filled out.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it just seems to be like open kind of like fields with like rocks and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that a lot of that is to make the flying feel more fun.
Right.
Because once you're flying and you're zipping over all of that, that part I think feels cool,
Right.
and you get that like, oh, I'm actually doing it sort of thing. But yeah, you're right. When you're walking, I don't think there's a lot of. Eventually, you do get a few different like side quests that make you have to look for things
Right,
and
there's,
stuff,
like,
and there's like
puzzles.
some hidden things up like
Yeah.
that. But most of that I feel like is aesthetics and stuff anyways.
Yeah, I started doing some of the puzzles and stuff like that. Like, there's like Merlin trials, but like a big thing with this game not focusing on stats or anything like that is a lot of the rewards are just clothes,
Right.
and the clothes don't look good in this game.
It's Harry Potter style, so
yeah, right.
It's
And
all supposed to be wacky.
Yeah, the game is actively trying to make you look bad.
I personally love all of it because I'm one of those people that just wear the most recent thing I've acquired. So like my Baldur's Gate character looks ridiculous right now.
Yeah.
But I don't care because I love that. That's my favorite part of the game.
Okay.
Because they give you all those things to do. But so instead of being like, oh, I'm gonna make myself look like match and like I just wear the most recent thing until I beat the game, and then I pick my favorite things, and that's my final
Right.
ensemble. But usually I just wear, especially in that game, and that's honestly kind of my favorite thing, but also my least favorite thing is that in that game usually when you get the newest thing, it's the most upgraded item or whatever. But on the flip side of that, there's only so many. They repeat the same outfits with just
Yes.
like higher stats.
Yeah,
And
I have gotten a couple robes similar.
That gets kind of annoying.
But there's that for certain robes, but then like very elaborate robes or whatever like that, if it's like a story quest thing, then
Right.
like kind of just, if you like it, you kind of just fucked.
Right.
If it's, you find something more. The things that I'm finding now are like extremely high level.
Mm-hmm.
Like the last hat I found was like level 40 or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Fashion Souls is the way I play a lot of these games.
Yeah.
I mean, with Souls, I prefer not wearing any clothes because it kind of makes you go faster. But
Right.
with this game, like I started with trying to like have a cute outfit and do all of that, and then like the last 2 hours I was playing, I was like, fuck it.
No, I usually just wait. Even in like Liza P and stuff like that, like I just put on the most recent whatever until.
Well, I think Liza P does that. Liza P and even Souls, like Souls, you can look ugly. You can make yourself look real ridiculous.
Yeah.
But a lot of it looks great, and a lot of the full outfits do. Liza P, I don't think there's any bad outfit in that game.
No, I usually rock. I think I'm just rocking the red nose now.
Yeah, I did put the reindeer stuff on because I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
But other than that, like the actual unlockables in the game look fine.
No, I mean that game's gorgeous. I don't think they could make anything look bad.
Yeah.
But I'm saying I do like the same idea.
But it's a bummer because a lot of this game is gorgeous. It's just like, I don't know why you.
I don't think their outfits have ever been cool. Even like the people like at
the Wizarding World.
Yeah, like over in Universe, like all the fucking they all look
Dumb.
weird. And
it's
kind of
The robes would be fine. It's the fucking hats.
The hats. There's a lot of goofy hats.
And the scarves look terrible. I think
don't know.
In the game.
I can't even remember what the scarves look like. I honestly haven't played that game. I've only just I have. I think I like started an account, but I just typically just watch Kenya play it.
The scarves look fine as a scarf, but you put it on the character and it's like putting a full tire around their neck.
Oh,
it's
really?
Like
it's just massive?
So big.
Yeah, I can't remember, but I imagine, yeah.
So my character has like giant jet black sunglasses now and like a full scarf and like a giant ass hat and it's in the middle of class in the summertime. I'm like, what? This is stupid.
You're really getting into the role playing part of the game.
This is so dumb.
You can change. You can take it off when you're inside.
But then it's like, well, what about if I get in a fight or something like that?
Yeah, that's true.
And then like, well, shit. I saw that there's like slots for different gear and stuff like that. I haven't messed around with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you talked about flying. That's actually the day one of flying class is my next main mission. So I haven't done that yet.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know how far into that you get your broom.
Yeah, well, like I said, I have a lot of hours into it. I just haven't, story-wise, I haven't progressed the main story as much. There's quite a bit of side quests.
Yeah. There's a lot of like little things to do.
And like the side quests, I don't like dealing with the people, but the actual things that they're sending me to do have been varied enough where I'm like, yeah, this is fun.
Yeah.
It's not like go to the top of the tower and then open up a part of the map and then go do that 10 times.
Yeah, it's not like a Hagrid puzzle from PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
You just fucking get the rare jelly bean by jumping over 4 floating books.
Right.
It's like, no, fuck you. Hagrid.
Right. There's a lot of really cool puzzles or stealth or like a lot of things of like as well of like you're in the middle of your quest and you can like kind of like do little other things too.
Yeah. Yeah, they kind of set you up where you can like do a few things on the way.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like in the potions class it was like, oh, you're allowed in the teacher's room. Can you get me this ingredient from the teacher's room?
Yeah.
And then you get him that and the dude fucks up his potion and then the teacher gets all mad, but you could totally ignore that and
just do your own thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's really cool.
Yeah, I think overall it's a really great game.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, no complaints so far other than that. I mean, story-wise, I'm not a Harry Potter fan, so like don't care about the story per se. I think
Yeah.
it's cool, but it's
I
not like
think it's supposed to be like its own unique thing, anyways. So it's more or
Yeah.
less like
Yeah, and the way
Yeah.
that they introduce these characters is kind of weird. Like they expect you to know them, but I've read Harry Potter and I've seen the movies. I don't know these characters, but somehow I'm supposed to be invested in like.
I
some of
thought
these-
I think they're supposed to all be unique to the game. I mean, other than like
Some of them.
tying to like the actual history, I think you're supposed to be in like just a unique time slot of your own, like not necessarily tied to the.
Right. Well, a lot of these names have been said. I'm pretty sure, like Percival or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, all it's like you're a random student who gets dragged into the school as a 5th year. You have no relation to this wizard world at all, and they
Right.
just expect you to get it. And
Yeah.
this whole time they're just throwing shit at you. I'm like, does my character even give a fuck?
Right.
Like, I don't. Does my character even know what you're
What's
talking
my
about?
motivation?
What? Yeah,
right.
what is my motivation? And like, the opening of the game is insane on its own. Of like, you get in a dragon flight and you watch a guy die, and then they just never talk about the guy dying ever again.
Really?
Yeah, this whole time it's been like, yeah, a dragon attacked us and stuff.
Okay.
But they never talk about the guy dying. And it's been on the back of my mind the whole time. I've been saying
Wow.
it. Like,
I mean,
there's a guy that died and we haven't talked about
I imagine
him at
it'll
all.
progress once you get into the actual story part of it.
Yeah.
That's probably
He reminded me
know.
of Mr. Poe from A Series of Unfortunate Events. It's like that same kind of energy.
Yeah.
Comes in and he's like, I got a note for you. And then you get in the carriage and then the carriage is flying. You're having a full-ass conversation, and then a dragon rips the thing in half, and he goes out with the dragon, and just disappears.
wow.
Yeah, very strange.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I imagine that'll probably come up again. If you make it all the
Maybe.
way to the end and it doesn't, then yeah, maybe there's a little concern.
Yeah,
But
I'm just gonna keep bringing it up. I'm just almost 16 hours in, and I just haven't thought about. All right, I keep thinking about the guy who
Right.
died that we haven't talked about yet. It's so strange.
well, once you get like, because there's a certain point where like, you know, the story picks up and you're not even like doing school shit anymore.
Right.
You know, you're like doing God knows what. So like, I think that's kind of maybe where it gets. I don't know. I don't know honestly because I haven't played the full thing myself.
Yeah.
But
At the beginning, the dude was like, "Don't snitch. If you tell anybody what happened, then we're all fucked."
yeah.
And then, like, 2 conversations later with some random stranger, and they'll be like, "Yeah, I heard you guys got attacked by a dragon." I'm like, what the fuck?
Right.
What are you
Wow.
talking about? I didn't say it. Is he just going, "Don't tell anybody. Hey!"
Right. Yeah. That's
don't
funny.
But, yeah, I've had a lot of fun. Anything else with you? Have you Baldur's Gate or anything?
No, I haven't played anything. I've been
Oh.
playing this game on my phone called Torn.
Torn.
You remember those old like MySpace? It was around MySpace. It was like text-based games, and you just like we would play like Mafia,
Yeah.
and you like you
Mafia Wars or
pick a
Mobster Wars
weapon.
or whatever.
Yeah. It's kind of like that, but it's on a website, so I don't have to download an app.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've just been doing that, but it's like more. It's a little more vast. Like it's kind of like GTA, but if it was just text-based, you know.
Okay.
So like you can pick a whole bunch of different occupations, and they have like ones that you can pick, like all sorts of random. Like you can be a florist, you can be a dental assistant, you can be all sorts of things.
Yeah.
But you have to have the appropriate stats. So like you start off with a basic job and blah blah blah, or you can work for another player who starts their own business. And they don't care about your stats. And they'll
Yeah.
be like, yeah, I just need enough people to make my business work for me, and I'll pay you this much, or whatever. I mostly play it. There's like a whole, there's like a crime tab, so there's like all sorts of different crimes, and as you level up, you obtain the ability to do more crimes. But some of the crimes you have to have certain things to do. Like my biggest, the crime that I stick to, because it seems to be the most effective right now, is burning CDs.
Yeah.
But to do that, you have to buy blank CDs.
Right.
So you go and buy the blank CDs, and then you flip the blank CDs, and eventually, once I level up that specific thing, that specific crime, I can start a business, like an online business, and then I think it'll like auto generate that. I don't really know yet. I haven't got that far. So yeah, so there's like all sorts of different crimes you can do, and then as you level up, you're able to do more stuff. But then, like I said, you need certain things to do certain things. So, and then like some of those certain things, you have to just wait to discover or level up to obtain. So it's a lot of like, you know.
Yeah.
And then there's like, I play it all the time because it's so quick. Like you can just pull it up and do a couple things. There's crimes. There's house, like property. So eventually, like you get enough money to buy a better house, and then the house raises up your happiness, and your happiness, you know, the higher your happiness, the more risky stuff you can do.
Yeah.
Because it's like a secondary health bar. Because it's like a psyche health bar, and then you have your physical health bar, which is like if you get into altercations. And then there's like the gym, obviously, to upgrade your stats. But I mostly play it to play. There's a casino on there.
Oh, okay.
And like they have like a few games. Like you only have 75 casino tokens. So no matter how much money you have, you technically can only play 75 games per day, which doesn't sound like a lot. It depends on what game you're playing. Like if you're playing slots, that's 75.
It's just spins.
Yeah. But I play poker, which is just one, you sit down, and then that's one token.
Right.
And then that token lasts the whole time. It's not every time you get a hand.
Yeah.
So, like, you can play for hours, you know. And I just like playing poker anyway, so, like, it's a cool, like, free poker app where I'm playing, like, real people all the time, too. You know, so I'm playing, like, real-time people all the time, chit-chatting, playing poker, and then, like, you know, if I make some money, I get to upgrade my other stats on top of it, you know. This is also a game where I just dress in the first things that I obtain, so my character looked ridiculous for a while.
Oh, so you do have a character model?
And you do have, like, a character model, yeah. You can get married, which changes, like, the dynamic of things.
That makes sense.
There's a education thing, which is, like, basically just to increase stats, but it's, like, it starts off with, you have 7 days. Every course, you can change your course every 7 days, but as you upgrade it, that lessens. So, like, now I'm down to, like, 6 days every course or whatever. And then they give you missions, too. I'm still on, like, one of the first missions, which is, like, jump 5 people. But that's like the hardest thing to me, is to find people that are weaker than me, worth jumping, that won't mess me up or take a bunch of my money or start some sort of feud. I don't want to start a feud either, you know? So I may never, who knows if I'll ever actually progress that part. But there's just so many other little side things. Like I'll literally pull it up on my phone, do all the little things, because it only takes like 20 seconds to do the crimes and the workout and like pick a new education. And then if I have time, I'll just play poker for a few hours and you know, win some extra money, and it's cool because I get to play it without playing it. And yeah, so I've just been playing. That's literally the only thing I've been playing, if you even consider everything else. I've just been so busy with everything else recently. Just planning for Texas and taking on some more comedy stuff. I'm trying to push for I have a show idea I'm trying to push in this club in Boston, so I've been like heavy, you know, chit-chatting with people about that, and so just a lot of so it's just been a lot of watching Kenya play games, and then every once in a while I'll be like, here, I'll race for a minute or whatever, but
I was super into Mafia Wars as a kid. Like, that sounds interesting.
I like it.
Yeah, it's like Adventure Capitalist was another one like that too, where I was just super into.
Right.
Clicker games in general. I used to play a lot. Simpsons tapped out. Rest in peace. It's gone now. But I was super into those games as well, where you like build your little like Springfield or whatever, and just like wait for it to all like the numbers go up and everything like that.
Right.
But none of those had like mini games or anything like that.
Right. That's what I was impressed about this. When I checked it out, I was like, okay. But then once I discovered like the poker and stuff like that, I was like, oh, cool. I can like actually just like play this.
Right.
You know, and then even if you go like bankrupt, I have a job now, so I'll like make my money back. You know, and
it's like taking the GTA 5 casino and putting it into one of those games. That sounds super interesting.
Pretty much, and it's all real time. So like.
Yeah, that's cool too. Yeah.
Which is another just cool thing. I've ran into a handful, like the same people we jump on at the same time to play like poker and stuff. Yeah. So that's been kind of cool.
I thought about just straight up playing video poker, but then I was like, I shouldn't get into that hole.
Yeah. I mean, I've just always loved poker. I've just never like gotten too into it.
Right. But yeah, me too. Like
one day.
It's not even poker, I guess. Texas Hold'em is what I normally played.
Right.
I don't know. I'm interested. I am. Balatro was fine. I liked Balatro. I get why it's everybody's game of the year.
Yeah.
The roguelike nature of that game completely tore me away from it.
Yeah.
But yeah, something a little bit more. It doesn't even need to be like anything tied between game to game, just like something to play.
Right.
I don't know. I used to burn through like all the mobile, like Microsoft Solitaire and all those games too. Like I've burned through it all.
Right. Yeah.
So like I don't know, something fun like that would be cool to play. I'm still playing Pocket, TCG Pocket for Pokemon. Not as much battling, but still going and getting my packs every day. But it's kind of whatever. Trading is in the game now. I haven't traded with anybody, but there's the whole controversy of like the trade limits and everything like that.
Right.
You need like a certain amount of a currency to trade a more rare card. Is how they're gating it, is that you have to build up trade currency in order to trade the different rarities.
Okay.
The higher the currency, the higher the rarity you're able to trade. And I get it's to negate a black market.
Yeah.
Is why. But of course that's what everybody wants. So like you're just preventing the inevitable. That black market's gonna come regardless. It's just on how expensive it's gonna be because of how gated it is.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, that's I don't know. I've had fun just opening packs and stuff like that. The battlings, they haven't added like the new cards add more to the meta, but they haven't added like we talked about. They haven't added stadiums or anything yet or anything still.
Right.
So like a lot of the crazy stuff that you can do in a deck, it's not there yet.
Yeah.
I don't know if it ever will be, just because of how small these games are compared to the real thing. Because now you've played the real game.
Yeah.
And those matches can be an hour.
They get long, yeah.
And they're, I mean, prize card wise and stuff, it's double the amount of points of Pocket and everything, let alone like you have access to every card, let alone or like with Pocket you have like slimmed out versions, like they don't have they have resistances, or no, they have weaknesses but they don't have resistance in Pocket and stuff like that. So like I don't know if they'll ever get there, just because they would just have to retroactively change how the game functions.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like opening my digital cards. It's fun. It feels just as fun as opening a real pack of cards.
Yeah.
Except I don't make money from it. So
right. Yeah.
that's the one thing. But I don't know. I thought about saving. I've been saving some of the currency, but I thought about saving a bunch of it so I could do like a video of just like opening packs or something like that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't done a pack opening video of physical cards in like well over a year now. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that would be fun at some point. I used to do those videos a lot, and I stopped performing as well. They went from like 90 views a video to like 2 or 3 views a video. And
Oh,
I was
interesting.
like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
I think it has the algorithm with lengths of videos is like all fucked. It has been for a while though. But if you're a channel who does like a bunch of hour-long videos and then you upload a 3-minute video, it's gonna fuck your channel.
Huh.
Interesting. Yeah, and then back then I was doing daily videos, or 2 videos a day. I would do a 3-minute Pokemon video, and then I'd do my hour-long gameplay video. Yeah, that's probably why my channel has been stagnant for so long, is because of stuff like that you're not supposed to do.
Right.
But whatever.
Yeah, does that make sense? Like, why does it matter?
Right, it's because it's a robot. It's all an AI robot. I don't know why. I mean, it's the same thing as like, I mean, back in the day, it was 10-minute videos was all that you were able to upload.
Yeah.
And then they changed that a little bit later to an hour-long video at max. Maybe it was even shorter than that before then. But that's why Game Grumps videos used to be 10 minutes. Was because that's all you could upload. And that's what the algorithm favored. And then animation as well. Animation was very popular on YouTube because of short form.
Right.
But yeah, somewhere in a little bit after 2012, the adpocalypse era, they started favoring longer form videos in order to be able to fit more ads in a video.
Right.
Ads started becoming worth less, so they started wanting to fill more ads into where, instead of just making less for 3 ads, well, why not put 6 ads, because that's worth as much as 3 ads was worth.
Right.
That's pretty much how it ended up being, of like, oh, we can put an ad at the beginning of the video of a 2-minute video and an ad at the end of a 2-minute video, and that would be enough money for animators to sustain themselves.
Right.
And animation would take a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if it's just one guy doing it, like a lot of YouTube channels were. So you'd have like a 2-minute video, and then that would be the one thing that guy put out for 3 or 4 months sometimes.
Right. While he's working on the next thing.
Yeah. And that used to be enough, but now, that's not even the case because of the whole algorithm changing like that because of ads. A lot of it is because of ad revenue and the way that this all works.
Yeah, definitely. That's been a big, that's a big change for a lot of the websites and stuff.
Right. I mean, the AI minefield right now that we're going through is like really hurting internet content, and ad revenue and everything like that. It'll go away eventually. Everything will revert back, but I don't know, I think that's very strange, I guess, is like the SEO. I don't even know how, I'm not even the person to like try to even articulate these thoughts. The different SEO stuff that you would look for, like you would look up in a video and stuff like that, you would be able to count on and stuff, like the clickbait style things used to not exist back then, where like you could kind of like, you used to be able to find everything, right and stuff. You used to be able to search for things, and like it was a lot easier to just find the thing that you were looking for. Now not so much, and that has to do with the clickbait thing, and also AI trying to fill the void of information. Or not even fill the void of information, but trying to like smooth the information out a little.
Right.
And it's kind of muddying everything else. So when you look for something now, you get the AI results of it thinks you're talking about, but because everything's all clickbait and stuff, nothing new is being surfaced.
Right. Yeah.
It's all old information that shit's being worked on, and then it's getting all that old information wrong. And that's been my Google searches for the last few times that I've tried to look for things, but I just wonder how that in the back end, to tie it back, is fucking with the algorithm.
Yeah.
Because Google owns YouTube.
Right.
Yeah, I wonder. I'd assume that it will revert back because AI is also killing advertisement money right now as well, because the first thing you get fed on Google now is not an ad. It's the fucking AI message
right,
of like
yeah.
what it thinks you're trying to talk about. So it's a very strange thing. I wonder where that's going to be in 2 or 3 years. I guess I'm working through my thoughts of something that I just haven't thought about in a long time, I guess.
Yeah.
The last time I thought about anything AdSense-wise or anything was 2016, 17 was probably the last time.
Yeah.
And the last big... I mean, the adpocalypse was 2012, 2013. And then, like, the last time the algorithm really changed was, like, 2016. Where it was, like, they started favoring, like, stream content and stuff like that.
Right.
And it was, like, YouTube Music and then YouTube TV and also just live streams in general, which also favors the longer form videos, which is why I do 4-hour videos now, rather than 30 minutes to an hour long video every day. I can do a 4-hour video twice a week and it gets just as many views as all of my videos in 1 week did.
Yeah.
You know, if not more. Also, the YouTube likes it when you take breaks a lot.
Yeah.
Like, the most activity on our channel, like, we get a lot of views right off the bat, but, like, we get a lot of views the later that we don't post. Like, more activity the later that we don't post. So, like, yesterday, for instance, or Wednesdays, usually we record Thursdays, so Thursday, Wednesday is, like, when we would see the most activity on our channel. And then Fridays when we upload, we get like a big hit, and then it's like goes down and then back up a little, and then spikes up for the new thing. But yeah, right now YouTube just also favors you not uploading at all. It's very strange. I don't know why. There's been times where I won't upload for like a week or so. I'll get a new subscriber, and the day I upload, I'll lose a sub. It's like so strange.
There's a lot of algorithms. I was watching this video about a guy who was like, he like breaks video games, but he's like broke YouTube a couple times, I guess. But he like recently figured out like if you post like a really long video, you don't have to go as far into it for like to get the view to count,
right?
You know, like it's still the same amount of time even if it's a 4-hour or a 30-second video or whatever,
right?
So like if you make like a 4-hour video and then you go back and cut that video in half or whatever, it like doubles some percentage, but it makes the video look like it was super duper popular.
Oh, I
or
see.
whatever.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
So that like hikes it up or whatever. And
right.
Then, so he like did that and like on top of a couple other things, but like.
Right, because in YouTube you can edit the video that's already uploaded.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's how the music works too. So like if you have music playing in the background or something like that, rather than taking down the whole video, it will keep that version of the video running as it tries to scrub the old
audio.
version, and then it will replace it.
Yeah.
sometimes, I mean, a lot of that stuff is in beta, which is why that I'm sure that's probably part of the reason why it's broken. But when they a lot of that back end stuff, when you get into it, it's like, hey, this is still working. We're still working it out.
Mm-hmm.
Like this website is 20 years old.
Right. Yeah. No one expected that it would be paying people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even then, like now with paying people, it's been 15 years.
Right.
And, like AdSense started running in 2010, maybe even 2009, but they're always throwing new features in the back end.
Oh, yeah.
And, like
yeah.
taking features away, but there's stuff in the back end that's not relevant at all to like YouTube.
Yeah.
Like when you upload a YouTube video and you put tags on a video, it tells you, it's like, hey, tags are old. These don't really help your video anymore.
Right.
It's like, why is this here? Obviously, I'm gonna fill the tags out because it's here, but like, it's weird that it's even here if you're telling me that it's not helping
Right.
me.
Is this still not part of the keyword search thing? Like,
I guess not.
is that just like a different thing now?
Now it scrapes like the bio of a video and stuff like that.
Oh.
Which, I mean,
Well, it probably goes and
We've done
scrapes all the
okay.
dialogue and shit too.
yes,
Like, you know.
yes. Which I don't have subtitles on our videos and stuff like that, because when you start scraping dialogue and stuff, you start getting into like, well, what did I say in the video?
Oh yeah, yeah. I've just doing like the clips and stuff. Like I put closed captioning. There's so many. I have to go back and like add words or edit words or like this isn't what I said.
That
or,
too,
yeah.
but also it's looking for a reason to not show your video to people. Like that's the whole reason why it's scraping dialogue. It's helping you for subtitles, but the real reason why is because it's making sure that you're advertiser friendly.
Yeah, of course, right.
So the more you curse, the more you do anything like that, or depending on the subjects you talk about, it's scraping for all of that. And
Right.
you know.
Which I mean, makes sense to a degree. They don't want nothing too crazy
right,
on their
they don't want
website.
hate speech or anything, but like there's been problems with YouTube and stuff like that over the last few years with like with wars, with guns, with any kind of sexual assault or true crime. The most extreme example I could think of is the gay pride stuff during early Trump administration, late Obama administration stuff. YouTube just started flagging anything that was gay.
Oh,
Anything
really?
mentioning gay pride or anything
That's
like
crazy.
that. And it was like demonetizing it. And it's like the fucking algorithm is just a robot.
Right.
So now everybody, theoretically, somebody on the back end is supposed to go and look at every one of these appeals to be
Right.
like, are they good or not? But they have a robot doing that too.
And there's
now.
so many, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and now there's so many, and not all the demonetization stuff for things like that. But then you have like appeals for music, for fair use, and all of that stuff. Like that's all theoretically that same algorithm, that same robot.
Right.
It's fucked. It's fucked. But according to them, it's all still in beta. So who knows?
Nice.
Yeah, who knows what it will be like in 2 years. I mean, none of us could have predicted where the internet was a decade ago.
No, not at all.
And I think the 10 years from now is going to look insanely different.
Probably.
Especially with the way Twitter and Facebook and all those sites are heading.
Right. Yeah.
And,
Oh yeah, for sure.
yeah, it'll be very interesting. I think YouTube and those types of video platforms will become the new social media. Even though it's been around forever, I think I think you'll see a lot more of that style of social.
I think video.
content.
Yeah, I think video content's gonna pretty much take over like text-based content, like tweeting and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I think people would rather just see you say your opinion for 10 seconds than have to read it, which is kind of unfortunate. The illiteracy rate is already going.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But it is a little more efficient because you can just listen to it. You know, you can listen to a clip. You don't necessarily have to watch it. You don't necessarily have to read it.
Right.
It does help with the multitasking, and it's also visually appealing versus just reading a bunch of text. So I see the appeal, whatever, but I do a lot better text-based. I'm a writer.
Yeah.
So, you know, I am slowly coming to terms that I have to start doing some sort of visual stuff outside of just stand-up clips and doing stand-up.
Right.
I'm going to have to start doing something else. I have to upgrade my phone first, but
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
definitely going to start making, like, something similar but unique, I guess, to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have to develop an online persona.
Yeah, I'm gonna start with TikTok. I'll just start making whatever kind of content because right now I just use it as a promotion platform. I don't use it for clips or anything like that. YouTube pulls out clips, but it's all AI, and sometimes it's like
You can maybe.
not
I mean, you
worth
can do your
anything.
own.
Yeah, you can do
back
your
and-
own easily, but like yeah, that all takes time.
Right.
Well, I have the podcast running most of the time, but it's running in mute, so I'm not usually listening to it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I thought about fucking with the clips and stuff like that to put on TikTok, but honestly, I'd rather just make TikTok specific content.
Yeah.
I don't know. Pokemon openings or whatever. I don't know. It's one of those things where you just start doing something and then you figure it out as you go.
Yep.
But I don't know. I definitely see there will definitely be an outlet for text, but I don't think I don't know how long Twitter's gonna last.
Yeah.
I think Twitter is going to go away within the next few years. But I do see Facebook as well changing significantly within those few years as well. I don't know how. I do see it. I do see it morphing into something a little bit more. Especially because Meta owns the Quest and like this whole VR AR thing, and like Meta is doing a lot more than just Facebook. Like they're dumping a lot of money into dumb shit, but they're dumping a lot of money into a lot of shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I do wonder how versatile that website will be, or what it will look like. I don't know. And that's really a podcast, though. You do have a hard out.
That's
you
true,
gotta
yeah.
start driving if you want to make it by 6. So we will leave it there. There is a PlayStation event tomorrow. That got announced like right before we started the podcast. I was like, great. So that's tomorrow. I will be doing a reaction video to that. Patrick won't be here. He has to be in Meriden tomorrow.
Yeah, I have to do a podcast with. I'm doing a roast battle. I'm like headlining a roast battle,
Oh, cool.
and me and that guy are gonna do a pod together to get to know each other and promote
Nice.
it, and kind of like a wrestling promotional thing,
Yeah.
but like a podcast. It's his podcast, but yeah.
Cool.
So I'll be on it. A couple other comedians will be on it, and then we're gonna go do like actual comedy afterwards too.
Yeah.
But that's like half the reason I'll be out all the way out there.
I wonder how long this. I might have this up tonight. If not, then this will be up tomorrow. But then so will the PlayStation event.
Nice.
I'll just do a reaction video and upload it on both my channel and the the Praise the Run channel.
Right.
But yeah. I don't have any like crazy predictions for it.
Yeah.
I think the last one we did was the one that they did all of the I don't know, they've had one since. They did that Ghost of Yote one, but the last February state of play that they did was the they announced Concord and Fair Games and all of that stuff.
Oh yeah.
So I wonder if we're gonna see any update of Fair Games.
We'll see another Borderlands trailer.
Yeah, not at PlayStation, I don't think.
No.
Maybe. But I think this might be... We really need to see what First Party is working on. Like, we really don't know. They've canceled 12 games as of right now. So, like, we know that Blue Point is out of the picture. Their game got canceled. We know that... Is it Firewalk? The one that just got a game canceled as well. And then Sony Bend, their game just got canceled. So we know that there's no chance for Sony Bend to come with a Days Gone 2 or anything else. And then we know that Blue Point's not working on a new remake. So
yeah,
who knows, that we're probably 6 years from seeing them again.
Yeah.
Probably fucking super close. But we have Sony Santa Monica. They're working on something that's not God of War. Or it could be a sequel to God of War. Who knows? Insomniac has like 4 games in the works. We still don't know what Wolverine is looking like, even though it leaked a bunch. There was a Venom game that leaked that still hasn't been talked about yet. We know Ratchet and Clank is a long ways away. Like, they said that the next Ratchet and Clank game is in their plans like 2029.
Wow. Jeez.
Yeah. So we're probably far away from that. I imagine we see something from Xbox. There was a leak that Forza is coming to PlayStation. So
that's cool.
Yeah, we might see something about that.
Good Forza.
Forza Horizon 5.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, not Motorsport. Motorsport's the newest one, but it didn't sell that well.
Huh.
Horizon 5 is the big one.
That was a fun one.
Yeah. So I'd imagine with this one, they'll just bring over all the DLC and everything like that in a one bundle, but we'll see. That game has a lot of DLC now. That would, I guess... MLB The Show, they do that. Sony San Diego does that.
Yeah.
Sony Santa Monica is working on another game that's not God of War. Cory Barlog, the director of God of War 2018, has been working on a game that's not God of War since that game. So maybe we'll see something from that.
Wow.
Because Ragnarok was directed by somebody else. Yeah, so I don't know. That would be cool. But yeah, Haven Studios has what Fair Games. Still don't know anything about that yet. We saw that one teaser. But yeah, that's really it. Sucker Punch. Yeah, Ghost of Yote. I'd imagine we'll get a bigger update on Ghost of Yote, but maybe not. Maybe we just saw it, so you don't want to show it again until the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
If that game doesn't come out this year, that's what I would think. Is that we won't see it until next December time. Yeah, I don't know. Anything you were hoping for?
Not really. Honestly, I'm just so focused on the games that I'm playing right now. I can't even. I don't even know. I mean, honestly, also, but like Baldur's Gate is so. I'm still still on the first chapter of that, and I'm so immersed. I don't know if I'll play another game.
Yeah.
Until I beat that. But yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm in the same boat too. Like I can't think ahead of anything.
Yeah.
I doubt we're gonna see Naughty Dog's game anytime soon. That intergalactic game they announced.
Oh, right, yeah. That seems like that they gave us like a big epic trailer to kind of just let us sit on for a while.
Yeah, to be like 2028.
Just a golden
something.
egg, yeah.
Yeah. Fuck. Shit. Well, that's a podcast. We will be back next week. I will be back with that reaction video as soon as I can. But yeah, ideally I have more fun things to talk about next week. I really don't know. These next couple of weeks are gonna be weird because like the end of the physical year is March for most companies. So we're gonna start seeing a lot of things for the future, but a lot of things are gonna start like fucking. Games are gonna start rolling out. I think Elden Ring actually comes out Friday.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the start. Elden Ring is the kickoff.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll be back next week. With that being said, guys, it's been fun. It's been real. Peace out, guys. Bye.
See you.
Woo! I was like, I think this. Oh, we still have 20 minutes, but I was like, this.